Welcome, I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. From our BizVision studios in the UK, you're watching the BVTV network with guest Lynn Erasmus. Our BizVision theme for the first quarter of 2021 is the word Awaken. That may be awaken to new opportunity, perhaps starting your own business when you are 50 plus, becoming, as we say, a silverpreneur. My guest today can certainly help you achieve that. She's inspired many businesses, especially in the key areas that create success. But most importantly, she's been there and done that, or as the saying goes, won and shredded many t-shirts along the way. So let's go get you inspired and on the way to success with Lynn Erasmus. Welcome, Lynn.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's delighted. Now, we are getting closer to social distancing. I've been mostly in America this week, but you're in Edinburgh. Is that correct?
Yes. And we're on a full lockdown, so very much social distancing here.
Okay, and we're in Northumberland, so we can't even cross the border to each other, but
No.
we can talk from a social distance here. Look, I'm delighted you're kindly guesting on our new and extra BVTV channel, Silverpreneur. We'll also be playing this interview across our other channels, as the message which you've got is such wide appeal in these challenging times. Now, I'm in this TV show, I'll be talking to Lynn in 3 parts about business: thinking, getting started, and growing. So the first part, I'll chat to her about her thoughts on starting out with a new business venture, especially with realizing your future and applying intention. Then in part 2, we'll move to that first delicate and nervous step of launching it and getting it going, which requires confidence and the ability to be resilient, agile, and adaptable. And in part 3, we'll talk about how to grow it and scale it to true success whilst ensuring you have the right balance of work and contentment, as well as profitability. Lynn, before we get into our 3 parts, please briefly introduce yourself to my viewers and listeners. Who is Lynn Erasmus? What's your story? What makes you, Lynn, leap out of bed in the morning?
Too much. I'm a natural, energetic person, as you can see. So it doesn't take much for me to get up in the morning. I am actually from South Africa, and then we moved to the Netherlands, and now we're in the UK. So we did a whole roundabout move. And I've launched my book called Break Those Damn Rules. This was last year in the UK. And since then, I've just been marketing that and speaking, and obviously a lot of coaching. This is a big need. So I'm very happy to be joining you on this program, because I said in my previous talk, this is the year of the entrepreneur.
Yeah, I am totally with you, because so many people have been made redundant, or the threatening, and it's quite frightening. I mean, today we just learned that in 2019, 10,000 pubs and restaurants closed forever, you know, and so plenty of opportunity. So let's kick off our chat in part 1 about a silverpreneur. That's someone aged 50 plus in our book, thinking of a business, but perhaps because they have to through redundancy, or just to think it's now time, or perhaps they have an existing business and they want to grow it. What should be their thinking about in regards to the concept of their business? After all, at 50 plus, it's a brave move, isn't it? And even braver if you're a woman, especially seeking finance and even moral support from your partner.
I think the 50 plus is actually in the bonus stage. That's actually the perfect time to start, because you've got 50 years of life experience that you've built up. So it doesn't actually matter in what industry you've been in. And surprisingly, the majority of the entrepreneurs that is the most successful, that turned from being employed into an entrepreneur, are ex-teachers. I thought that was so interesting, because teaching is a calling. It's such a noble profession, but there is downfalls to it as well. So it doesn't actually really matter from what industry you are. the time to start a business is right now. Because as you said, this is the time when most of the redundancy came about. Large corporations are closing down, small businesses are closing down. So the job opportunities are not going to be the same anymore. What you got away with last year is not going to be applicable this year. The entire mindset would have to be shifted to be able to get a job that pays you what you are worth. Mm. And I see that's the biggest problem with being employed again, is they know that they can just get any number of people and fill that job, and they can drop the amount that you used to earn. And that is the beauty about entrepreneurship, because you dictate how much you are worth. You find out that, say, you need to earn £5,000 a month. It is so easy to do by just working out a proper business plan, doing your research, and it's not obviously going to be overnight, so we'll go through the processes. But I like with starting off with a vision. The vision is the most important aspect of starting a business. If you can imagine it in your mind's eye, you can have it done. It's half the job done just by imagining it. So that's my first port of call. I would say, if you are interested in starting a business, is to switch off everything. Switch off the television, the radio, the phone, everything, and just start dreaming. What would you like to do? What is your passion in life? Now is the time to live your passion. How exciting is this?
Yes.
This is the perfect time to live your passion. And especially when you've got 50 years of life experience behind you, there is very little that can go wrong. Everything is working in your favor. So once you've got the vision, you start writing it down. Then you go into research. Research is the next, I call it your level of education. So whenever I coach my entrepreneurs, I ask, so what is your level of education? And they say, no, I studied here and here. I said, no, your research. What research have you done in your business? So who is doing what you are wanting to do right now? Who's your competitor? So that's your competitor. Where are they? And what are they charging? So you've got a lot of research, and then you've got to find out, where is your target market? Who is your target market? So please don't ever tell me that I'm for everyone. Everyone wants my services. That's not going to work. You need to be very, very specific. You've got to go into detail as to who your target market is, and then find out, can I fill those gaps? So unfortunately, being a business owner or being an entrepreneur, it's not about you. No one cares about you and your fabulous business idea. It's about the problem that you are going to solve for them. So what problem are you solving for your customers? Please, it is not about you. Because that's, I think, the biggest thing is we come up with these bright ideas and like, I want to change the world. I'm so passionate about this X, Y, and Z. No, who cares? I don't care. I want you to solve my problem. Can you solve my problem? I'm going to give you money. And then obviously you've got to make sure that you are profitable. But we'll go into the next stage. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Then, now, just talking about research there, Lynn. Yeah. It was Stelios that started EasyJet that said, if I'd done too much research and had sort of group thinkings, I would never have got started. Isn't there just that little bit where you've got to do, as the Greeks call it, thrasos, your gut feel that you can do too much research, can you?
Of course. Like I said to you earlier, I've become quite British and I just ignore all the problems. Yeah. You do what comes up naturally, and that is your gut instinct, and then also that is your intuition, and your intuition always knows what is best for you and what is going to work and what is not going to work for you. So once you've got that little bit of a butterfly in your stomach and you're like, this is getting exciting, this is it, I just feel it. So yes, you are 100% correct, Malcolm. It's the research is crucial. I'm not gonna downplay that part, because that is where the devil lies in the detail. So you got to find out exactly I call it I call it, I'll talk about it next, into the stalking scene of stalking your clients, etc. And like all the world leaders, the best top entrepreneurs will say, whatever stage you're in with your business idea, just start. So just start. So that is obviously for the nitty gritty. You're going to go and do your research. And I like to say, speak to your family members and friends, because you will not find anyone that is more criticizing than a family member. So if you've got a good idea, I dare you to put on that big tight pants and go and see your family member and say, listen, and go to the one that dislikes you the most.
Right.
You know which one that is. So you go to them and say, listen, I'm going to start this business. What do you think? And please, I want you just to take notes of key issues that they're going to say. Do not take to heart. Whatever they say, forget it the minute you walk out of the door, because what I want you to do with that piece of information is going to be your like inspiring. Like, this person says, I can't do it. It's going to fire you up, because you want to prove this person wrong, that you can do it and you are going to make a success of it. And they are going to find your weak points. And I want, a lot of us are not aware of our strengths and our weaknesses. And this person knows your weakness the most. So you need to recognize that weaknesses. Take that to just on a side note, because you will need it later. But I don't want you to be dissuaded by this person, because they're going to say, oh, that's such a horrible idea. I would never support it. Da, 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 da. Who are you to want to start a business? Look at you. You're 50 years old. You've got no experience in this. And I want you to take all those horrible things that were said, take it to heart and build further on it. And then you go to the person that loves you the most and you tell them also your idea, and just bask in all their confidence and all their love, because that's what you're going to need. A business is like giving birth to a baby, and you need to give it lots of attention, lots of nourishment, and lots of food and water and sunshine, and so it can grow. And also what I like to say is, don't tell everyone about it.
Brilliant.
So you go to two people, the one that loves you the most and the one that dislikes you the most. So you can get the two, your strengths, you can find out your strengths and your weaknesses, and you keep quiet. You work behind the scenes, you don't tell a word. And once you're ready and you've got your first client, you go, boom, look at me, guys, I've got my first client. Because you are incredibly vulnerable the first few months of starting a business. And the smallest little criticism can break your confidence down, and then you just leave it. So please, whatever you do, don't tell everyone about your business. Just focus, work behind the scenes, work on your client list, work on all the small little nitty-gritty details, and start.
Brilliant. Lynn, that is exceptionally good advice. And after all the years I've been doing interviews and helping business get started, I haven't heard of that concept before. Great. Brilliant. Okay, just before we move to part 2, I'd like to remind viewers and listeners of Lynn's website URL, which you can see on the screen behind me, viewers, which is lynnErasmus.com. But for our listeners, I'll spell that out. And Lynn is Lynn, 2 N's in Lynn, and Erasmus, ERASMUS, lynnErasmus.com. Just hold the book up again, please, Lynn, so I can see the book. Yeah. And it's break those damn rules. I wasn't swearing there. Break those damn rules. What do you mean by that, by the way?
It's the rules that keeps us small and insignificant. So it's the rules that we have placed upon ourselves and that of society have placed upon you to say, you are just a nobody. You are just another person. You are just another business. What makes you so special? And they label you and they put all these small little rules on you, but this is not allowed and that's not allowed. And you should just be grateful for where you are. And lots of people are sitting without a job. And You should just be grateful for what you have and, move on. So Break Those Damn Rules is a memoir and a self-help journey of self-discovery and practical tips on how to break those rules.
Yeah,
Set you free.
I'm totally with you on that one. Hey, I've got to tell you, last March when we started BVTV Network, when we were first into our lockdown, we were talking to a so-called friend and advisor who said it won't work. Well, here we are, nearly 500 interviews later with 9 channels, and we've just won our second best international content award.
Well done.
Yeah, so I've sent him my 2 fingers.
Well done. I'll add on to that if you don't mind.
Go on.
One of the entrepreneurs, I used to have a magazine in South Africa, and one of my entrepreneurs that I interviewed, he also had he started from the bottom up, and his competitor was a big company, and he said, "Who do you think you are to start up? You know nothing." So we created a logo of a pineapple, and he lasted that pineapple for 7 years until he was all over South Africa. Everyone would use him above his competitor, and his competitor became I don't know if they closed doors or whatever. And I said, "This is the pineapple. I want to show you that I can do it. You said I couldn't do it."
Well, let's continue this inspiration. Our Silverpreneurs now got an idea for a business. It's been thought through and considered carefully, the pros and the cons. It's time now to have the confidence and launch it. Too many people keep talking about it rather than doing it, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's stick with our Silverpreneurs thinking. What should they be doing to get it going and get the momentum started?
I would first go and register the business, because I find if you just do it on a hobby, if you start out and say, "I'm just going to do it as a hobby for now," you're not going to give it the seriousness that it deserves. So I would strongly urge you to go and register the business. Look into the different types of companies that you can register with the HRMC, and find which one is the best for you. But start with that process, and then I would start creating a very basic business plan. I almost want to say 4 things that you need to work out, or 5 things. Number 1, you got to create a mission statement, and I'll go back on that. Got to create a vision statement. You got to create a list of services that you are going to offer, services or products, and a description of each, and who is your target market and how you're going to reach it. And then your marketing plan, crucial. How are you going to reach them? How are you going to let them know about you? And I love using build a brand. So building your brand is going to be your number 1, the best way for you to reach your clients. And I'll tell you a little story now about building a brand. And then lastly, and the most important, you got to make profit. So if you don't make profit, then you're just a hobbyist, and then you know what? Leave it, bin it for later. But if you're serious about this and you actually want to make a business out of it, it needs to become profitable, and you've got to know your worth. So you got to get a mentor or a coach to help you with your structures and your pricing. And then branding is my favorite. So how to make people fall in love with your brand. You first of all also look at your network. So many people underestimate the network that they have. I was left devastated when I arrived here in the UK, because my beautiful, huge network of people that I've built up in South Africa and the business community over the past 15 years are gone. They're not relevant for the United Kingdom. So I have to start from scratch. So I'm also in that process now of building my brand. And it's not a sprint. It's a what do you call it? A marathon. So it's just continuous. You got to keep it at a steady pace. You got to just be persistent and deliver on your products, deliver on your promises that you make. And people want to do business with a person. They don't do business with a business. They want to do business with another person that they love or like, trust, and respect. So who in your network do you think is trustworthy and that you like? And I love this. One person once said to me, do you feel comfortable leaving your children with this person? And I was like, oh God, no, I would never. It's like, well, then why would you want them as a client? So just keep that in mind as well. You can also be picky as to who you want as clients, by the way. And that's also through brand awareness. And all the top brands have done it. Your Nike, your Adidas, your name it, they've got it. It's through building trust, always delivering on the promises, and telling stories. People love stories, and that's how they remember you, because they retell a story. Like, oh, did you hear the story about X, Y, and Z? And it spreads like wildfire, because people love a good story where there's especially if you've got the underdog who underperformed and no one backed him, and then all of a sudden he's becoming this big famous person and everyone's like, yay. So it's about being vulnerable enough as well to make people fall in love with you.
Excellent.
Oh, and one more thing is called play. I love using the words. So your customers wants to play with you. They want to have fun with you. And play stands for people love attention from you. They love attention.
Say that one again.
Play. People love attention from you. So that is a fact. I mean, don't show me one person who doesn't like attention, who doesn't want to be the center of the universe. And that is how you treat your clients. And another big important rule, once you're big enough and you start employing your staff is your biggest brand ambassadors. So what do they say about your company around a dinner table, away from work? What are they saying about you? So it's crucial to make sure that your staff are happy and that your brand is associated with the way you treat your staff, because clients know that. Customers know when the staff is happy, they know that it's a sound and healthy company. When the staff are unhappy, sulky, delivering bad service, complaining, then you know there's something very, very wrong with this company, and they're going to walk away.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. Let's move on to part 3. Now, we've started it, but now we've got to keep it going, haven't we? Otherwise, we're going to be on those statistics of how many businesses go bust after the first year or so. Keeping it going, reaching growth and profitability. But, and this is important, I think, and something you know a lot about, at the same time, managing the balance of work and happiness and family commitment, especially as we grow older, energy and things like that. What's your thoughts and guidance in this area, Lynn?
That is actually, that was the big turning point almost in my life. I was 30, started out running like crazy. I worked, good heavens, I worked like 16 hours a day. We had a little, a 1-year-old boy. I would like wake up at 12 o'clock at night, carry on working, look after the baby in between. My husband started his own business, so we both started our own businesses with zero capital. So none of us had funding to start our businesses. And I set out to build my brand. So I did a lot of charity events and talks for free. And then I just entered all these awards. I won one award after the other. I became successful. Everyone wanted to do business with me. And then I crashed. And it was bad. It was really, really bad. It was the most depressing time in my entire life. I actually shut my newspaper down. And I had to just re-look at where I am. and I had to make some hard decisions. And that's where I find like my biggest growth came in, because I took the time and I want to say the courage to face my demons, face what I did not want to see. Because we all have areas in our lives or aspects of ourselves that we do not like, but that can only build us up further if we are courageous enough to face it and then choosing to change. So we need to make that decision. We need to make a mental shift to say, we are ready for the next stage. What we are doing right now, is it working or is it not working? Why is it working or why is it not working? And then you take it to the next stage and you need to transform. You need to look at where you are and push through the barriers. You know the saying of you just got to keep going.
Yes, I've got you.
Breaking through those stones until you've found the solution. The growth stage is the difficult stage. So that's where most people give up. And you don't need to give up. So it's just as I always recommend people when they reach that stage and they're like, I don't want to do this business anymore, because a lot of people fall out of love with their business. Sorry, and I never went back into the vision and the mission. And that's why those two statements are so important, because your mission and your vision is like your promise. It keeps you aligned. This is what I am intended to do. This is why I started my business. This is what I want to achieve. So your vision and mission, go back to that statement. See if you're still in alignment with those two elements of your business. And if you're not, then change. There's nothing wrong with changing. If you're not happy where you are, move. That's simple. You're not a tree. You can just move. But as I said, it's your perception, accepting change, and staying positive. I think a lot of us, especially during this rough period that we've all been going through, it's difficult to stay positive, because it's almost like there's no hope at the end of the tunnel. But there is so much hope. There's so much abundance. There are so many opportunities out there. I get butterflies in my stomach when I just think of all the opportunities that are still out there. There was a saying that said, never waste a good recession. And you can just use it the same onto never waste a good pandemic, because there's always opportunities in your challenges. Yes. That is where the opportunities lie. I love a challenge. I love looking at your challenges, because that's where your opportunities are. And there, as I said, really, there is so much opportunities right now. But you need to stay positive and collaborate. Start looking at your supplier list of people who you are doing business with currently, and see who can you reconnect with, redo a new business strategy, maybe a new business, a new product line, a new service offering will come out from that, because you might have one aspect of the ingredients that you need for your successful business, and your supplier might have another one. And remember, your supplier can be anyone from the actual company that you buy your products from, as to your network with people like you, Malcolm. So there's so many people that you can look at to collaborate with and expanding. This is definitely not the time to work into a little silo. I think we've all noticed during this global pandemic that this world, we really are living in a global village. We are all in the same boat. And yes, it's a different...
Brilliantly said, and brilliantly said, and stimulating. Now, just before I do my final thank you there, I just want to again to remind viewers and listeners of the URL to go and follow through on this. And it's Lynn, Lynn, Erasmus.com. So listeners, have you written that one down? Viewers, you can see it, LynnErasmus.com. I'm saying this again for the millionth time. Starting a business can be both exciting and daunting. And the latter is why so many people talk about it, but never do it. I trust my guest today, Lynn Erasmus, has stimulated you. You are now bubbling with excitement, and she's given you the right confidence to be a Silverpreneur. Many thanks, Lynn, for a great chat.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Take care.